Hello, everyone. I hope you're all okay. I'd like to begin by wishing Chaim Aruchim to Pauline Goodman on the loss of her sister, Rose Richmond, Allah HaShalom. Rose, for those who knew her, was a really wonderful lady who did lots of communal work and kindness, very much on the quiet, for the Chevra Kadisha, for the Hillel House students, for the Ladies Guild, over her many years of contribution to the community. And unfortunately, there's no public shiva. Nevertheless, please take a moment to consider all the good that she did, and may her memory be for a blessing. This week's Sedra of Boy continues the story of the Exodus, and we come to the final three plagues: the locusts, the darkness, and the Makas B'cheres, the killing of the firstborn. And the rabbis tell us that each plague got progressively harder, progressively more challenging for Paro. And each time, nevertheless, he didn't let the people go. And if we think about it, therefore, the plague of darkness is the second to last plague. That means it was the second to most severe. Now, we understand darkness is not very nice, especially in this time of year, much of our lives are conducted during the hours of darkness. Some of us have to go to work when it's still dark. Some of us come home when it's still dark. Some people suffer a SADS, a type of syndrome that depresses them from lack of sunlight. And that's understandable. It's not nice. But what's so bad about darkness that is it worse than the locusts eating all the food? Is it worse than having plagues of wild animals and all the animals dying, and physically painful plagues like boils? So the rabbis tell us that really this darkness was so severe that people couldn't move. People could feel the darkness. And for 7 days, nobody saw each other. People were stuck in isolation, without Netflix, without the internet, without the computer, without phones, just stuck on their own. And that isolation, the rabbis tell us, is so severe that the only thing worse is death itself. This week, because of this plague of darkness and the messages of the challenges of loneliness and isolation, what we've band together today under the category of mental health, the JAMIE, the Jewish Mental Health Charity, actually nominates this Shabbat as one to focus every year on mental health, on the support, on parity of esteem, on recognizing the challenges of mental health. And with lockdown, and as we spoke about before, with isolation and increased loneliness, this year, perhaps more than any other, it's important to stop and recognize just how many people are challenged at this time and at all times with their mental health. And on Motzei Shabbos, 6:30, we'll be running a Kahoot, a family quiz, with a Havdalah service and a small talk from Karen Wilson, formerly Salomon, from a daughter of Dennis and Diane Salomon, who will tell us about the work. She works at JAMIE, tell us about what they do, what they can offer, and please do join us for that. But perhaps we can look a little bit at how we can combat this terrible loneliness, these terrible thoughts that people can get themselves down with and depressed with. And one of the well-known strategies for improving one's mood and one's mental health is to focus on the good and on gratitude, expressing appreciation for all that one has, and in that way being able to focus away from one's challenges. And someone sent me a really interesting story this week I'd like to share with you briefly. It was about somebody who had properties in a very high crime area of New York. And one day he was going there in his car, and accidentally he left out on the car seat an envelope which had in it $40,000. And on top of that, 2 MP3 players. Of course, had he thought about it, he would have hidden them away. But these MP3 dollars were worth about $500. He went to do his business, and he came back and he saw his car window being smashed, and the MP3 players were gone. But of course, the first thing he checked for was the envelope, and the envelope was there. His $40,000 was still there because the thief hadn't thought there'd be anything worth taking in an envelope. They wanted the MP3 players, sell them, make a few $100s. And he was ecstatic. He was so excited. He had his money. And then he thought to himself, let's say this envelope would never have been in the car. And I would have come back and seen my window smashed and my MP3 player's gone. He said it would have been a dark day. I would have been fretting about it all day. I would have been annoyed with myself for leaving them on the seat. I would have been angry with the police who do nothing about these crimes. I would have been angry with these criminals who take other people's stuff. I would have thought about the cost of fixing the window and whether I'd have to claim it on the insurance. It would have been awful. But now, because I still had my $40,000, I felt saved. I felt relieved. I felt happy. I felt, thank God, I didn't lose what I could have lost. And that's really a message for all our lives. In all our lives we have good, we have family, we have health. At least many parts of our health. We have people who care for us. We're part of a community that supports each other. Unfortunately, sometimes we have difficulties. Sometimes we have challenges. But let's not let those challenges overtake the fact that we have the $40,000, that we have so much of what we need and so much good, and how much Hashem does for us and gives us, we say, at every single moment. So, yes, we are challenged. Things can be difficult, but always focus on how much good we have. And in that way, please God, we'll get through all our challenges. Good Shabbos, everyone.